Tonight, a visitor is kicked out of the country by the Ministry of Tourism after blatantly disregarding COVID-19 protocols, even after stern warnings. Has Cabinet agreed to free the herb? The Commerce Minister says a viral voice note on the matter is not accurate. And Nancy Charles is forced to do damage control after angry farmers accuse the government of giving them a 6 for a 9. The details are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 28th of July, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and our Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The Ministries of Health and Tourism, aided by police, were forced to send a visitor to the island packing to where she came from after she repeatedly flaunted COVID-19 protocols. The visitor was escorted to the Uanora International Airport on Friday, the 24th of July, and put on a plane to her place of origin. The tourism minister says every opportunity was given to the visitor to comply, but matters came to a head and getting the visitor out was the only solution. Action has been taken against the visitor following breach of tourism, health and safety protocols. Health authorities were forced to place the visitor in a government-operated quarantine facility on Thursday, the 23rd of July, after she spent several nights at a certified hotel. There were repeated reports of protocol infringements on the part of the visitor while she was at the hotel. These infringements were flagged by management. St. Lucia's travel protocols were made public to the international community from May 2020 and were introduced to the visitor on arrival into St. Lucia and on subsequent occasions. The situation eventually came to a head and the visitor was kicked out of the country on Friday, the 24th of July. Tourism Minister Dominic Fede spoke on the matter during a Tuesday press conference.
There was one tourist who was seen in public, and despite the many efforts to caution her, we are aware that the law enforcement officials had to take the bull by the horns and actually place that individual in institutional quarantine and then repatriate her back to her home country.
The tourism minister confirmed that the visitor was escorted to the Uanora International Airport and departed on a flight to the visitor's original jurisdiction. The Ministry of Tourism has commended the Royal St. Lucia Police Force for its swift action and says it is working with international partners to ensure that the message is clear on the requirement for visitors to follow all protocols. Minister Fede, however, would not be drawn into disclosing the visitor's country of origin, although our sources tell us that she was American and departed on an American Airlines flight to Miami.
I don't want to get into all the specifics, but just know that we repatriated her back to her home country. I don't want this to be about any particular country or it to be about a particular individual, but I'm not in the business of trying to harm anyone's reputation.
There have been other instances of visitors flaunting protocols. However, the tourism minister says the compliance rate has been high when compared with the number of breaches by visitors.
Even though we've only had 3 breaches, I believe that that is enough. We are so absolute, decisive and strong about this, Michael, that we want to make sure that nothing comes through the cracks. And what we're trying to do is to tighten up any, even the appearance of there being a loophole is what we're trying to make sure that. So we want to make sure that we have an airtight management of this situation.
With sector and government agencies working together to mitigate the possible spread of COVID-19 into local communities, all travelers to St. Lucia must adhere to the strictly enforced mandatory travel protocols. Failure to do so will result in the return of visitors to their various jurisdictions at their expense. In keeping St. Lucia safe, the public is encouraged to anonymously report any known infringements to the 311 hotline or to the nearest police station. Commerce and Investment Minister Bradley Felix sought to clarify where the Cannabis Commission is currently at regarding decriminalization and eventual legalization of cannabis, following the release of a voice note claiming that the cabinet had agreed to full legalization of the herb within a 3-month period. Felix says while full legalization will be further down the line, the use and sale of cannabis and cannabis products is still illegal. Shaka Wooding reports.
I am certain that we are here this afternoon as a result of a voice note which, no pun intended, but has been blazing up over social media.
The pronouncements made in a viral voice note claiming that the full legalization of cannabis would come by year's end have been disproved by Minister for Commerce and Investment Bradley Felix. According to Felix, though there was a clear misinterpretation of what took place in Monday's cabinet meeting, there have been fruitful discussions amongst ministers on the progression of cannabis reform. He says what has actually been fully approved is the expunging of minor cannabis-related offenses.
At yesterday's cabinet meeting, there was consensus with regards to 1, authorizing the Ministry of Commerce and the Attorney General Chambers to draft the legislative and the regulatory framework to assist in the implementation of a cannabis industry. That also included looking at personal use, religious use, and medicinal use. Authorization was also given for us to look into the expungement of records of people who had been incarcerated, charged with amounts less than 30 grams without having a violent attachment to it. So this is what that was actually authorized by Cabinet yesterday.
Felix says the matter now lies in the chambers of the Attorney General, as Cabinet and Parliament await draft legislation to lead further discussions.
When a matter is sent to the AG's chambers, what comes out is a sort of a draft framework. That draft framework would not only be reviewed by, subsequently it will come to Cabinet, but it will have to be reviewed by various agencies, for example, the Bar Association and other agencies who put in terms of reviewing these things and giving us their feedback. And then we go to Cabinet with that final decision, and Cabinet also reviews the draft legislation in terms of going forward to Parliament. So this is where we are, and the work has just started as it relates to formalizing that framework.
He noted that the establishment of a license regime to define the industry is currently under discussion. However, the possession, cultivation, and use of cannabis and cannabis products are currently sustained by the Constitution as illegal offenses. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
Meanwhile, Acting Police Commissioner Milton Daisy has indicated that unless the Misuse of Drugs Act is changed, police will continue executing the duties that they are charged with, which is enforcement of the laws as they exist. Genevieve Gonzague has more in this report.
The slogan "Free the Herb" is well known within the St. Lucian context. Recent comments by the St. Lucia cannabis movement has given the impression that Cabinet is unanimously in favor of decriminalizing cannabis. The Commerce Minister said what has been agreed upon is the expunging of convictions for small portions of cannabis. Work has commenced and is ongoing to develop the framework to guide the development of a cannabis industry. But the island's top cop, Milton Daisy, has a warning for anyone who seeks to go ahead of the process. He says police will continue to enforce the laws as they exist, and for now, cannabis remains an illegal drug.
Well, our position remains the same. Until the law has been changed, it is an offense to cultivate, to use marijuana, to offer for sale, and so on. So the police, we will act based on the existing law. When that has changed, then we have no choice but to act according to the law. What we do enforcement of existing laws. So once the law still remains in effect, we have to act based on it. And I'm urging persons that even if it's in the making, that they should still desist from being in possession of it. Once found, you would still be arrested for it. When the law has changed, then we change our mode of operation.
Daisy says while no directives have been given, officers in many cases use their discretion when it comes to the arrests for the possession of cannabis, as the situations vary.
As I said, it's what happened. Every situation would be different. You may find somebody in the comfort of his home probably just smoking a joint compared to somebody on the bus stand where you have other individuals smoking. So every situation would differ. So as I said, it's personal discretion of the police officer, but no directives has been given. It still remains the force policy that once it is an offense, we have to enforce it.
So does the force empathize with the Rastafarian community, given the herb is the sacrament? And does the police force have an opinion on decriminalization?
If government decides they are decriminalizing marijuana, then we shall go by that law and we do enforcement based on what the law is. Right now, I will not share an opinion as to whether marijuana is good or is not good. I've never used it, I will not use it. And even if it is decriminalized, I will not use it.
As it stands, the possession, sale, and use of marijuana is illegal. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
Farmers are crying foul after what they say is tantamount to the government giving them a 6 for a 9. They gathered at the Ministry of Agriculture on Tuesday to contest what they believe is unjust retraction of their eligibility for financial support under the Income Support Program. However, the Director of Implementation within the Office of the Prime Minister, Nancy Charles, says that although farmers were indeed promised support, there was no indication that this would come in the form of cash.
According to farmers who gathered at the Ministry of Agriculture on Tuesday morning, prior to applying for the Agricultural Support Program, they were led to believe that this assistance would have come in the form of a one-time cash payment of $1,500. However, once they arrived at the ministry that morning, they were informed that a decision was made to supply them with agro-products such as seedlings and fertilizer. That was unwelcomed news, to say the least.
Then I came here because my field officer brought me this form saying that we're going to get money from that stimulus package. And now they're calling us in a meeting. I've been here for 3 hours now, just sitting upstairs. I heard different things going on. Now they say it's seedlings they promise us and not cash. When so many farmers has come here, wasted their time, sitting all last week, and now they're saying it's seedlings and it's not cash. So I'm still there listening, but then my field officer never said it was seedlings. They said it was $1,500 for farmers in the stimulus package because of the COVID thing.
Madame a parlé à ce sujet de agriculture. Yo moun mal comprendre situation that yo ka bay tout moun anti la monnaie, mais Jean agriculture yo pas ka bay yo rien, c'est grain yo ka bay yo. Et puis la pani justice et puis la ni Jean agriculture qui dit comme ça dat moun ha attraper koyo joindre l'argent yo joindre anti funds ça moi vraiment demander yo est-ce moun kay ça fait agriculture sans la monnaie ou bay tout monde té en bas corona tout monde souffert farmers souffert yo qui souffert pli en pays a c'est yo qui kat bay moun manger avec bras ou pas ka bay yo l'argent et puis ou vle bay yo grain qui manière yo kay ça payer moun est-ce yo kay ça sustain agriculture. C'est moun ça c'est pas piche yo ka faire yo ni pour me koyo bien et puis respecter farmers ek ban nous ça qui sont nous because la nya chay bay kay vini ban nous farmers ça qui sont nous. Okay? Merci.
The field officers sent us here with that document I have right there in my hands there, right? And now they say something else. They say now there it's not money again, it's fertilizer and etc. But the money is excluded now. So we want to know what really is going on because we left whatever we were doing on our farms and we came here. Check out, I have stin right down my hand there and I don't leave it and come here. We are family, we need to get some money, we need to get something out of that. We know the fertilizer, we know the damn things, we need money because the field officer told us it was money we were getting, so we need the money. All right?
Director of Implementation in the Office of the Prime Minister, Nancy Charles, soon descended into the crowd in an effort to ease growing tensions. However, Charles's account of the matter differed greatly from that of the farmers, leading to a back and forth between these parties. She explained that the farmers were seemingly misled as to what program they should apply for.
Apparently there has been some miscommunication where some farmers were informed that they would qualify under the income support program. So what you have here is a lot of farmers and fishermen who have come here to register for the income support program. Unfortunately, the ministry has had to explain to them that the farmers and the fishermen do not qualify under the income support program. However, they qualify under the agriculture program. And so you would find that a lot of them are disappointed because apparently they were told that this program would they would qualify for this program. So you have them a bit agitated and a bit upset.
Charles further noted that financial aid has only been made available for specific agricultural sectors, with plans for greater inclusion in future.
I do want to confirm, though, that under the agriculture program, for the fishermen, for example, agriculture has already rolled out for the fishermen. So a $900 rebate has already been given to fishermen, or the boat owners, let me say, because there are boat owners and there are people who work for those boat owners. So I know a $900 rebate has already been given to all boat owners. It has been distributed via their cooperatives and so forth. So I would encourage all boat owners who are part of cooperatives to go to those cooperatives to inquire about the funds that has already been sent across to them. And then agriculture is also preparing to roll out its program for the farmers.
As of right now, livestock farmers qualify to receive various feeds and rearing inputs, and crop farmers qualify for seedlings, fertilizers, and irrigation assistance. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, CSA writes to the Cabinet of Ministers expressing concern about changes that grant the Cabinet power over public sector appointments. Bus operators say at this point they are the most disrespected group of workers amid the COVID-19 reopening and reviewing the travel bubble. All that and more coming up after the break.